They told you to hustle, to grind, to move faster. They said sleep was for the weak, rest was for the lazy, and peace was for the people who gave up. You believed them, because everywhere you looked, the world was screaming the same message. Work harder, push more, never stop. You opened your phone and saw it again, the polished clips, the shiny cars, the cold showers, the 4 a.m. alarms. Everyone was running. Everyone was chasing something that looked like success. And for a while, you joined the race. You thought pain meant progress. You thought tired eyes and caffeine-fueled nights meant you were getting closer to your dreams. But no one told you what happens after the applause fades. No, one showed you what the camera doesn't capture. The burnout, the anxiety, the emptiness that comes when you've been sprinting in circles. You started to realize the grind wasn't freedom, it was another kind of cage. Because hustle culture doesn't want you to grow, it wants you to keep chasing, to keep consuming the next piece of motivation, to keep believing you're almost there, almost successful, almost enough. You see, the hustle never ends. Why, that's the trick. It's a loop disguised as purpose. Every morning, you wake up with a sense of guilt, like resting is a sin, like stillness means failure, and that's how they control you. The world has turned productivity into identity. You're not a person anymore, you're a brand. You measure your worth by numbers, views, sales, hours worked, not by peace, joy, or meaning. You're told to keep grinding, but they never explain why. So you fill the silence with motion. You stay busy because slowing down forces you to face yourself. And deep down, you're terrified of what you might find there. Because if the hustle stops, the noise fades. And then what's left? Just you and the realization that maybe this wasn't living at all. You keep pushing, because that's what everyone says you should do. Push through the exhaustion, ignore the pain, silence the doubt. But there's a cost to pretending you're limitless. You start waking up tired, not just physically, but in your soul. It's the kind of fatigue that no amount of coffee can fix. You look in the mirror, and you don't even recognize the person staring back. There's no spark, just eyes that look hollow. You've been told that hard work pays off, but you've been paying for years and you still feel broke inside. Every achievement feels smaller than it should. Every goal you reach fades the moment you touch it. It's like chasing a mirage in the desert. You keep running toward it, thinking this next milestone, will finally bring you peace. But the closer you get, the more it vanishes into thin air. You start realizing that the hustle isn't just about success, it's about distraction. Because when you're busy all the time, you don't have to feel. You don't have to face the emptiness, the fear that maybe you've built your whole identity on other people's approval. So you stay in motion, addicted to progress, allergic to stillness. But what they don't tell you is that progress, without presence, is poison. You can build everything and still lose yourself in the process. You can hit every goal and still feel like you're standing on nothing. The burnout doesn't happen all at once. It's quiet, subtle, like a leak in your soul. One day you skip breakfast, then you stop talking to friends, then your passion starts feeling like pressure, then silence. And that silence, that's where the truth lives. Because for the first time, you can hear the voice you've been running from, the one that says, "This isn't peace. This is survival." But survival isn't living. You weren't meant to be a machine built to produce, consume, and repeat. You were meant to feel, to experience, to create, not out of fear of being behind, but out of love for being alive. The hustle tells you to outwork everyone, but maybe the real power is in outgrowing the need to compete. Because when you stop chasing validation, you finally make room for meaning, and meaning doesn't scream, it whispers. It shows up in small, quiet moments, the kind that hustle culture calls a waste of time, like sitting still, like breathing without guilt, like looking at the sunset and not filming it, like doing something just because it makes you feel human. You didn't mean to lose yourself in the grind. It happened slowly, like erosion, one small compromise at a time. At first, it was just about working hard. Then it became about being the hardest worker. Then it became about being seen as the hardest worker. And somewhere along the line, you stopped being a person. You became a brand, a machine that runs on caffeine, deadlines, and anxiety. You started measuring your worth not in peace or fulfillment, but in productivity. How many hours did you work? How many things did you post? How much did you achieve compared to everyone else? Your life became a scoreboard, and you were always behind. The hustle turned into your identity. You stopped asking why you were doing it and started asking what's next. There was no finish line anymore, just more. More work, more grind, more pressure to prove you're still in the game. But the game is rigged, because no matter how far you go, someone else will always be further. And that constant comparison quietly kills you. It makes every victory feel small, every pause feel like failure. The truth is, hustle culture doesn't reward happiness, it rewards exhaustion. It glorifies burnout, it turns broken sleep and empty eyes into symbols of success. You tell yourself it's temporary, just until you make it. But what if making it never comes? What if this pace, this pressure, this chaos is the life you've built? What if you've confused suffering for purpose? You see, when hustle becomes who you are, slowing down feels like dying. You've built your identity around being busy. If you stop, you fear there's nothing left. That's the addiction no one talks about. Not the addiction to success, but to chasing it. Because chasing feels alive. It gives you motion, distraction, noise, and as long as you're running, you don't have to face what's waiting in the quiet. The hustle promises meaning, but it often delivers emptiness. Because meaning doesn't come from constant motion. It comes from stillness, reflection, connection, the things that don't look impressive online but keep you sane in real life. So maybe you don't need another to-do list, maybe you need to learn how to stop, how to sit with the discomfort of being still, because that's where you'll find out who you really are beneath the noise, the version of you that doesn't need to earn your worth. That version doesn't hustle for validation, it doesn't crave applause, it just exists, quietly, fully, freely. But getting there isn't easy, because hustle culture has trained your brain to believe that slowing down is failure, that rest is weakness, that if you're not grinding, you're losing. Yet here's the paradox, the more you slow down, the more you actually start living. The more space you give yourself to think, feel, breathe, the clearer your path becomes. Because clarity doesn't come from chaos, it comes from calm. And in that calm, you start to remember why you began in the first place, not for fame, not for validation, but for something real. There comes a point when the noise fades, when your phone finally stops buzzing, when the deadlines pass, and you sit there staring at the glow of your screen and realize you don't even remember what you've been chasing anymore. That moment, the quiet after the storm, it's terrifying, but it's also the beginning of something honest, because for the first time, you're not distracted, you're just there, face to face with yourself. The hustle made you believe that your value lives somewhere in the future, that if you just worked harder, pushed longer, achieved more, then finally, you'd be enough. But enough isn't a destination, it's a state of mind, and you can't grind your way into peace. You've been running so long that stopping feels like failure. But the truth is, stopping is the first real act of courage. It's admitting that you don't want to live like this anymore, that you're tired of measuring your worth in exhaustion, that you're done pretending endless motion equals progress, that the hustle was never about success, it was about control. It gave you the illusion that if you just kept pushing, you could outrun fear, insecurity, doubt. But you can't. They catch up eventually. And when they do, you realize they were never your enemies, just parts of you that needed to be heard. You don't have to destroy yourself to prove you deserve something. You don't need to sacrifice your sanity for validation. You don't need to burn your life to light up someone else's definition of success. The world will keep selling you the idea that peace comes after the grind, but peace doesn't wait at the finish line. It's available right now. In the moments you keep skipping, in the sunrise you're too tired to notice, in the conversation you rush through, in the small, unproductive human things that make life worth it. When you let go of the illusion of constant progress, you start to build something deeper, substance. You start working not for approval but for purpose. not to be seen, but to feel alive again. And that's when you finally break the delusion. That's when the hustle loses its hold on you. Because you realize, life isn't a race, it's a rhythm. You're not meant to sprint forever. You're meant to live, breathe, stumble, recover, and keep going. There's no award for being the most tired person in the room. There's no trophy for suffering the longest. You don't win anything by burning out, you just lose yourself. So maybe it's time to stop running and start remembering. Remember that success means nothing without peace, that achievement means little without presence, and that the person you're becoming matters more than the goals you're chasing. Let the hustle die. Let the silence come, because in that silence, you'll find something no amount of grinding can give you. Clarity, freedom, and maybe, for the first time in a long time, yourself.